My guest is Mike Rittler from TD Bank. Mike, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Bill. Good to see you again.
Absolutely. So Mike, the big thing that everybody is curious about, everybody's wondering about is inflation, interest rates, and recession. So obviously, that's something that you're very involved with. You keep a close watch on. What are you seeing in terms of the impact of rising interest rates?
Yeah, great question. It's been interesting as the Fed's been on this path of raising the interest rates over the last several months here. I think we're starting to finally see some impact, right? Retail sales were down in December about 1.1%. They also adjusted the November numbers to be down 1%, so 2 months in a row of declines in retail sales. That's part of what the interest rate raises we're trying to do. We're trying to pull back some of the consumption, pull back some of the consumption that was fueling the inflation, right? So looks like what the Fed's doing is starting to have that impact. It's starting to cool off consumption a bit. We'll see. It's always interesting, right? Can they thread the needle and get you to a soft landing, as they talk about, versus a full blown recession? And that's the question that everybody's really got on their mind. So where are we heading for 2023? I think a lot of what I've been looking at and reading, the sentiment seems to be that it might be a rocky first half of the year in 2023, and that maybe we'll start to come out of that in the later half of 2023, start getting back to what I call more normal, economic environment. With inflation, with prices, with interest rates, and everything as we move into the later half of the year. I think that would be welcome by everybody. I think avoiding a deep recession and really kind of hitting that soft landing, coming out and getting back to a growth mode would be welcome news for everybody.
What does that mean for the consumer's access to credit? Because the furniture business tends to be very strongly credit driven. There are certain segments of consumers who really can only participate when they have that access to credit. What do you see in terms of the effect that that's having on consumers' access to credit, where they're landing in the waterfall, all of those kinds of things?
Right. Yeah, that's great, Bill. So right now, what's happening? It's interesting that one of the categories that was called out in the December retail sales was furniture, and furniture being down more so than some other categories, perhaps. And I think a couple things driving that. I think there's been some interesting kind of pull forward, right? There's been a lot of talk about inventory, and maybe there's good deals, and there have been some pricing deals and so forth. And so there's some pull forward behavior that probably helped. October looked pretty good, and that's why maybe November, December looked a little bit weaker. But I think that one of the biggest impacts of rising rates, especially, is how it impacts furniture sales. It's I think that the attractiveness of various financing plans it changes, right? I think when rates are higher, I think shorter term plans are probably more in vogue than longer term plans. Maybe deferred interest versus equal payments, so that they come with different dynamics and so forth. And a shorter term plan might not look quite as attractive to a consumer, right? So spreading payments over 12 months versus maybe over 24 or 36 has a big difference in what that monthly cash flow looks like, right? And the folks that you were referenced that that really rely on financing to fuel the sales, it's the longer term plans really make a big difference, right? They bring that affordability factor into play. When you can split something over a longer period of time, it's easier to visualize how you can fit that into your budget. And so as rates are higher, the offers tend to get shorter, which makes it more difficult for the people who are relying on credit to do it. But the other thing it does too, it makes it less attractive even for maybe a person who doesn't need the financing, but sees an opportunity to be able to just have a nice change in their cash flow, to be able to not have to put up $2,000 or $3,000 up front. But they say, oh, okay, well, I can spread that over 36 months. It's not going to cost me anything more. That's a good deal. When you look and evaluate that over 12 months, maybe it feels like more of a hassle. So you're kind of cutting off both ends of the credit spectrum. The folks that use it because they find it to be a good deal, and the folks that use it because it really helps their cash flow situation. So it's been interesting right now, right? And I think that's what the higher rates have done to the availability of financing. if we do get into a recession, then then things get even more interesting, because then the availability of credit starts to get a little bit tighter. So, we're so far, I would say by and large, you probably haven't seen a whole lot of what I'd call, tightening of credit from the lenders. And I think that, that's always, you always want to be ahead of the game on that if things start to go south. And so really, keeping a keen eye on where the economy goes, where consumer confidence goes, and where that takes the U.S. economy overall is going to be a really important factor.
Do retailers need, I mean, as you project out through 2023, do you see a need for retailers to make adjustments to their credit offerings and to their credit programs, or is it more a case of maintaining a kind of steadiness to the program so as not to disrupt? What, if I'm a retailer and I'm sitting there, what would my thought process be?
Yeah. Well, you can actually, you can use it to be opportunistic, if right. Certainly, anything that can differentiate you from your competitors can make a big difference. And so, if your business model allows it to work where you can offer the longer term financing, that might be something that's attractive, that can drive people into your store, that can drive your sales. Again, it all comes down to your business model and how your margins work and those types of things. So there's definitely competitive uses for offering financing. Again, longer term tends to drive more people's interest, and can drive some foot traffic into your stores and maybe help you close some sales. On the other hand, sometimes the cost of accepting credit is a really important factor as well, and so you have to balance that. The retailer has to balance that, what it costs them to offer a longer term plan versus a shorter term plan, with where they are in their cycle too, right? Like, it's kind of all together. It's where are your inventories? Are you trying to move more out? Are you kind of low on inventory and you want to maximize everything you're getting? So there's lots of factors that go in, and the smart retailers right now are doing all that calculus, like where are they in their cycle as far as their inventories and their ability to move product, and how can the financing plans that are offered help that along.
Well, good. I really appreciate you taking the time today. We'll have to circle back later in the year as we start to get a little bit clearer picture on where the economy is headed.
Absolutely, it's going to be a fun ride. If you think roller coasters are fun, I think that's what we're on a bit here. But we'll see. I would say, Bill, I'm optimistic. I think, but I think that as we get into the second half of the year, we're gonna feel pretty good. We're gonna see consumption really come roaring back. I think we'll see some moderation in inflation and those types of things, and a more stable rate environment. And that'll be a welcome change from where we've been kind of over the last, say 5, 6, 7 months. So hold on, we'll see what happens. And I look forward to revisiting, see how good we did in this conversation. So thanks for that. Appreciate it.
There we go. I think everybody hopes that you're dead on, Mike.
Sounds good.
All right. Great. Thank you.